Hi scholars, Dr. Ratcliffe here. This brief video is going to discuss exactly what I want to see in your visual aids. First of all, a visual aid should not be the primary focus of your speech. You, the speaker, are the primary focus, and the visual aid just adds a visual element to your content. And so a lot of people have questions and a lot of people make mistakes when they design their visual aids because they don't understand the role that a visual plays. So keep that in mind. It's not the star of the show, you are. So the first question I often get about visual aids is how many slides should I have? I have to backtrack and say there are many different types of visual aids, but in this day and age, we typically use PowerPoint or Google Slides or some sort of electronic slideshow in order to showcase our data or pictures or whatever we tend to want to visualize. So how many slides do we need to have? My rule of thumb is to keep your PowerPoint very clean and simple. And so you should not have a lot of slides. You are the one that provides all the details. The visual should just provide an overview. And so you need one slide for your introduction. This can be a title slide. You need one slide for every main point of your speech. If you have a 3 main point speech, then you should have 3 different main point slides. And then you should have one slide for your conclusion. So now that we know how many slides we should have, what type of content should go on our slides, how should they look? Once again, I like clean and simple. The first and biggest rule of thumb when designing some slides is to not put full sentences on your slides. Why not? Well, first of all, full sentences takes away your power as a speaker. As a speaker, you are the provider of the content, but if all the content is up here on slides, there's no need for you to be doing what you're doing. And so that's one reason we don't have full sentences on our slides. The second reason is that people will stop listening to you and they will just start reading your slides. And you know what? You probably will too. People have a tendency when they're speaking to an audience to turn and read from their slides if there are full sentences on those slides. And that does all sorts of bad things to your delivery. It breaks your good eye contact with your audience. It makes you turn from your audience, which is a huge no-no. And then, you know, when you read something word for word, it changes the tone of your voice. So you stop being natural sounding and you start sounding like you're reading. And that's not good for effective delivery either. And so don't have full sentences on your slides. So what do you put on your slides? Well, always have a title. No matter what slide it is, whether it's your opening title slide, that obviously is the title of your speech, or whether it's a main point slide, every slide should be identified by a title. And then if it's a main point slide, you will probably want to put other content on that slide. So you have a choice. You could put one really good representative picture. Pictures are so valuable and much more appreciated by audience than text is on slides. So if you've got a great picture that represents what you're talking about in that main point, put a good picture. We don't need 5 pictures. We just need one really good, clear, sharp image. Another option would be to put charts or graphs. You just want to make sure that those are very simple and very easy to read. Most graphs are not simple, and so use caution when choosing this type of content. You could also put some text on your slides. If you use text as in the content of your slides, they need to be bullet pointed and they do not need to be in full sentences. They need to be keywords or phrases. So once again, you provide all of the interesting information out loud, and whatever is on that visual just backs that up, right? And so there's a great rule of thumb called the 6x6 rule. It states that you can have no more than 6 lines of bullet points on a slide and no more than 6 words per line. That is the max. I am fine if you have 3 little bullet points and then a nice representative picture and a title on top. To me, that is the perfect slide. And it's not too busy, great amount of content, but keep the content on your slides very, very clean and simple. You should also use contrasting colors. A lot of people just go to a default PowerPoint template and they choose, which background they want to use, and that's fine. Usually those are pretty good. But if you design your own, make sure that you're not putting yellow text on top of a white background, for example. That's not going to show up. Also, don't use animation. A lot of people just don't even mess with it anymore. There's no need for zooming letters or pictures flying across the screen. Don't do that. That's distracting and a bit juvenile for a professional setting. The last thing I want to talk about is something that will probably be different than what you've been taught before, and that is where to put your sources. In a speech where you are the provider of the information, the sources should come from you out loud during your speech. So while you are delivering information and you throw in a bit of information that you got from an outside source, that is when you say the name of the outside source. I do not want a list of your sources at the end of your PowerPoint. Do not put them there. They don't belong there. Now, when you write a paper, you do put sources at the end of your paper. But when you give a speech, I want to know where you got that information from. And the only way I can really tell that is if you say the name of the source while you're also telling me the information you got from that source. If you just list a whole bunch of sources at the end of the slide, at the end of your slideshow, I have no idea which bit of information came from which source. And so make sure that you are citing your sources out loud, and please do not put them on your slides. I realize you may have been taught differently on this subject, but for this class and for professional presentations, people need to know where you got your information from. And the only way they can really do that when you're talking out loud is to say stuff like, according to the American Heart Association, we should eat 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, right? So you're saying the name of the source and you're giving the information in the same sentence. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to cite your sources out loud, not on your slides. So those are the expectations that I have for your PowerPoints in this particular class. PowerPoints or Google Slides, whatever format you choose to use. I think some of my assignments require you to use PowerPoint for consistency's sake, but the concepts are the same across the different formats. So if you have any questions about what to put in your slides or how to design them, please let me know, but I hope this video answers a lot of your questions. Thanks.